So it's our first time back since 2019, and it is great to be back in Shanghai at Healthplex. Healthplex is a fantastic opportunity for CMA to showcase the products and the services of our members. It's a fantastic expo, and it's great to be back. So this year we have 6 members exhibiting. It's a mix of consumer brands as well as contract manufacturers. So we have Blue Gum Pharmaceuticals, Blackmores, Lipper Pharmaceuticals, Home Mart, Levita and Ferngrove. So for a number of years now, Australia and the United States have battled it out for the title of #1 exporter to China. Australia has held that title in the past, but at the moment, the US has beaten us. It's certainly one of my goals to try and get back that title of #1 exporter, which, when you consider the respective sizes of our markets, for Australia to be such a large exporter to China, it's a great achievement for us, but it's a recognition of just how good the Australian products are. I think there's a recognition of just how good the Australian products are, that we are the best in the world when it comes to quality, efficacy and safety. And there's a lot of Australian companies now that are specifically designing products for Chinese consumers. So whereas in the past, it was a case of sending Australian products over into China and hoping that they would be well received. Now, some companies are specifically designing products with the needs of Chinese consumers in mind. And so that's a really important step. But also, one of the really other important things that we're doing is investing in research and making sure that we really do have the evidence we need for the significant health claims and health benefits that we can provide to Chinese consumers. I think Australian companies are spending a lot more time looking at the export opportunities because they are significant. And I think for Australian companies to really achieve that significant growth going forward, it's important to look outside of Australia. It's great to see that diplomatic relations between Australia and China are improving. It's something that our industry has been hoping that we would see for a long time, and so we certainly welcome that change. Obviously, we've had the Chinese Premier in Australia this week. There's been some great announcements that have come out of that. I know a lot of people are very excited about the announcement that Australian travellers will be able to come to China without the need for a visa for trips of up to 2 weeks, and I'm sure we'll see a lot more Australian tourism coming into China. It's just a small step, that can help play a part in improving relations between our two countries, and certainly, I'm thrilled that it's going to be even easier for me to come back to China and continue to come to Healthplex and to CIIE in November as well. Chinese consumers are incredibly savvy. I think they know more about the regulatory environment in Australia and the TGA than what Australian consumers do. They recognise that the Australian products are subject to the strictest regulations in the world. And what that means is that consumers can have absolute confidence when it comes to safety, quality and efficacy. The Australian products are the best in the world, not only because the Australian companies spend a lot of time developing the best products in the world, but because those products are subject to the strictest regulatory requirements before they make it onto the market. I think when people think of complementary medicines and VDS exports out of Australia, they think of consumer brands selling products overseas. But one of the great success stories is actually the OEM, the contract manufacturing that takes place in Australia. That's where we're seeing significant export growth for companies overseas coming to Australia, getting their products made in Australia and then taking them back overseas. We're talking about products that consumers in Australia will never see. They'll never be on the shelves in Australian stores. They won't be on Australian retailers' websites. But these companies are coming to Australia to do their manufacturing because they recognise that in Australia it is so good. There are cheaper alternatives. They could be going to India or a number of other markets that are also, some of which are also very high quality. But they're coming to Australia because they recognise that Australia is the best in the world. The Middle East and Europe is certainly where we're seeing a lot of it, but I know that some of our contract manufacturers are doing work for companies all around the world.